your girl, Lady J. Say,
Car Talk, Car Talk, Car Talks with Meg, Car Talks with Meg, Car Talk, Car Talk, Car Talks with Meg, Car Talks with Meg.
affirming an all-inclusive podcast where all topics matter.
All right. What's good, everybody? It's your girl, Lady G, and this is different. This is. I mean, I shouldn't say different because this is not something that I've never done before, but this is just different because I've started, things similar to podcasting multiple times, and then I've stopped because in the heat of the moment, well, not in the heat of the moment, but in the midst of everything, you start doing something and then you feel like you just don't have the support, or you don't have that it factor, you know what I'm saying, that will drive or attract people to your product. So, in many moments I felt that way, and full transparent moment, I ended up just saying, you know what, forget it. It is what it is, just let it be. And I did. And I've been brought right back to here, to where I've started a podcasting, and now I was able to develop a real diagram, a real blueprint of what I want to see with this project. So I think this might be the opportunity. We're gonna see what happens. So I ain't mean to get into all of that right away, but that's gonna be typically what this is what happens on these type of episodes. I'm Lady G. I am pronouns she, her, and I was born and raised in Kankakee, Illinois, K3. I don't ever call it Killer Keys because I don't know when that started, but I ain't never called it Killer Keys because I ain't gonna speak that over Kankakee, although we're doing a pretty good job on our own anyway. I mean, it ain't funny, but you know what I mean. But born and raised Kankakee, Illinois, from elementary school to intermediate school to junior high, and then we ended up moving to Bourbonnais my junior high school year, but still in Kankakee County. So I will rep Kankakee all day. Born and raised, like I said. And a little bit about me, some interesting facts. So I am one of 6. I don't know how interesting that is, but I am the third child, the middle, quote unquote, child. Some people might say that, well, it makes sense. Well, guess what? Your mama. For real. Because what? No, a lot of people say being a middle child can affect the way that the child acts or responds, whatever. Me being the middle child, I don't agree, and I need you to mind your business. No, I'm just playing. But for real, I am third child of 6, 2 girls and 4 boys, and my sister is 5 years younger than me, so being raised in an all-boy home, the first 4 of us are stair steps. We're a year apart, with some 13 months apart, and it was, I wouldn't say tough, but it made me who I am today, and I love me some me, if I can tell you that. So yeah, that's a little bit about, my somewhat quote-unquote upbringing, but we're going to get into that a little bit later down the line, or as you continue to listen to these shows, you're going to learn a lot more about myself and the makeup of who I am today, when it comes to my past, my upbringing, my people, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I am also a mom. I have 4 kids, and that number 4 is significant because also the number 4 has always been my favorite number. I know growing up in school, back in like elementary school or early childhood or whatever, we always had numbers, and the numbers were based off of our last name, like the first letter of our last name. So the alphabet, A, B, C, D, and I was always number 4, all the way up until there were no such thing as numbers for us. And I think that was like junior high year. I was always number 4 in every class. I was number 4. I stayed number 4. Number 4 was always my number. I Four has, ever since then, me and Four clicked, and it clicked to the point where I ended up having 4 kids. I had 3 pregnancies but 4 babies. That's another interesting fact. I got twins. So yeah, 4 kids, been the number 4. And another thing that I like to add is that I'm an overthinker. I overthink a lot. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not. Well, I should say most of the time, it's not it's not good. I get myself in situations where I think what I'm thinking is helpful when it really is not even necessary. So, I'm still learning the balance of being an overthinker and an overachiever, connected to actually just achieving the simple goal that I set. I'm always trying to overachieve it. So that's another thing. But yeah, that's some interesting things about me. So with this show, name of the show is called Car Talks. And as I stated before, my stage name is Lady G, but I am from a long lineage of cars. My last name is Carr. And my granddad, actually, James Carr Sr., was a famous blues singer overseas, like in the UK. He was very, very well known over that way. And I spent some time watching some of his performances on YouTube and looking at just how much they really loved and adored his music. And then up until today, realizing that there are still a lot of people that really admire my granddad's voice and who he was. So my granddad was my dad's dad. And he was just phenomenal when it comes to music. He did not know how to read or write. And he, I guess, I've heard multiple times from one of my uncles that my granddad would be put in the studio and he'd just go. He'd just sing, and they'll give him, something, or let him hear something, and he would just make it his own. And I am also from a family that is very, very, very well diverse in music and in media, period. And it actually comes on both sides, my mom and my dad. My mom's side is very musically inclined as well, and so is my dad's side. So I kind of can't get away from it. So just about anything I do will entail or involve music, because music is the reason I breathe, the reason I live, the reason I don't know, I just love to vibe to music and to the sounds of the instruments and to the sounds of the vocals that make up the music. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't know, man. It's just something about music that makes me, talking about it right now, it makes me want to add a song to this podcast. But it's not a radio show, it's a podcast, so I ain't even gonna do that. But the purpose of the podcast pretty much will basically be, as you can see, something that I make sure that I am is affirming and inclusive. And that's what this podcast will entail. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Now, I do want to ask this question right off the bat. So there will be a QOE of every episode, question of the episode. And I really want, these questions will make you really think. And I really would like to pull out the past of who we used to be, not in a bad way, but coming from, looking at how 2020 through 2024 has been so far. And we have lost so many people, so many important people in our lives, so many valuable people in our lives. We've lost so many people. And even speaking on myself, earlier this year, I lost someone that was very dear to me. And, it's crazy because I never had a loss that close. So, having or experiencing that loss of, a relative that you literally grew up with, and then having to get a phone call about, them no longer being here, it was a shock. I remember the day I got it. I went through so many emotions. Like, I was in shock for a while. And it's like, I didn't want to believe it until I actually saw that person in the casket. And that's literally how it was for me. Like, it didn't become real. And some days it's still not real. But, I find myself reminiscing on, times of growing up. And the question of the episode is, what is your best or favorite childhood memory? Like, what is your best or favorite childhood memory? And mine, honestly, growing up, I remember family reunions were just like the thing. Like that was something that was never really missed. Every single summer, that was something I looked forward to. My grandmother, my mom's mom, used to be on top of making sure that the family reunion was like top tier. And that lady, man, rest her soul, that lady was she was something to be reckoned with. I'm telling you, like she made sure that the family reunion, her and not just her, but my aunts and my mom and my uncle, and you know what I'm saying, like different ones, cousins and all that, would come from all over and just and join us in Chicago, and we would have like the best family reunion ever. And then every Saturday during the family reunion, it was always a dinner. The dinners is what I looked forward to. I remember one year it was like ballroom style in the Hilton in Chicago. It was ballroom style, and having our family reunion at the Hilton in Chicago. I remember myself, my siblings, my cousins that were our age, we would always go straight to the lower level of the Hilton and just be down there either playing, make a movie, or playing like we had some type of action scene from a movie or whatever. Like it was always like it was always a treat. It was a trip. And those family reunions always allowed me to be around family that I never knew. And that, you know, I got to experience certain parts of who they were in these family reunions, and then learning about family history as well. And these are the times now where I would be like, man, I wish I was really paying attention instead of thinking about, oh, I want that piece of cake, or thinking about what I'm gonna do when we leave, thinking about Navy Pier. My cousin Zeke used to take us on walks. You know, when we were in Chicago, I remember one time we all walked to Navy Pier. It was definitely a time like growing up, like back in the early 2000s, or well, I'm a 90s baby. So growing up, you know, from 90s to early 2000s to 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know what I'm saying? Like those times, man, were just times to be alive, to be able to be around family, and just being in the midst of people, and the atmosphere of just being in the atmosphere of love, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man, like just thinking about these different times and moments is bringing back a lot of nostalgia for me. And the family reunions, I remember one particular family reunion I saw, because I've always been interested in film and in, you know, cameras and recording and stuff like that. And I saw a family member that was recording with, and this is back then, before we had these fancy Canons and Nikons and Panasonics and things like that. My cousin was recording on his camcorder is what it was. And I saw him record it, and I was like, ooh. And I went and asked him, I was like, hey, can I watch you? He was like, yeah. So I started watching him or whatever. And then eventually the camera ended up in my hands. I don't remember if I asked him or if he asked me. But eventually the camera ended up in my hands. And I was just in the zone. And I could not put the camera down for the rest of the night. And that was when I was like, I would really love to do this. Like, I would really love to grow up and do something similar to this. But of course, you know, back then, you know, you would ask a kid what they wanted to be. You would hear doctor, lawyer, you would hear you know, different things along the lines of that, a dentist, or you would hear those type of things, but never really a film director or a famous singer or anything like that. Like the more artistic sides of people didn't really, I mean, they showed, but it wasn't something that people like, you know, glorified it to be growing up. So yeah, like I remember that day like it was yesterday, where I was watching him record, and I was like, ooh, can I watch you? And he was like, yeah. And then I ended up with the camera, and I was just on it. Like I was loving it. I was in it. I was on it. It just was what it was. So, you know, that's something that's a childhood memory that I remember. We also, growing up, we also used to have what is called Family Day. Family Day was something my dad created because we could not celebrate holidays. So the type of religion that we were, we went to a church, and this church was very, very strict on not allowing us to celebrate like Christmas, Halloween. I think we did celebrate Thanksgiving. But you know, any other Halloween, it was pretty much described as a pagan holiday. So, but what my dad did was he came up with this, and I don't think it was just my dad, but I mean that's just what I knew. But anyway, he came up with this thing called Family Day, and on this day, I remember waking up, and the house would be like decorated in balloons and have a banner, and it would say Family Day, and then we would do different activities together. We would do, have different. I don't remember if there were gifts or not. I would actually have to have an episode where I got my siblings on here, and talk about like the upbringing of what it was like growing up, especially compared to what it is like today. But we would have family day, and then that's where we would have, my uncle would come over with his boys, and we got there's actually old footage from this old camcorder my dad had that shows us on a family day and us prepping for family day. And it's funny because in one of these videos in the very beginning, it's a video of me sitting at the table, the very last at the table, which seemed to be always. It was either me or another sibling of mine. I'm not gonna name no names. I'm gonna let them name themselves when they get on here. But I was sitting at the table because I didn't want to eat my oatmeal. That's what it was. I'm still to this day not a fan of oatmeal. Like to this day, still, I do not like oatmeal. So I eventually get up from the table, and enjoy, join the rest of my siblings while they're in front of the camera, paying attention to the camera, and just enjoying each other and stuff like that. I get up. I don't think I ever finished that oatmeal, to be honest. To this day, it is probably, should still be reported that that oatmeal is still sitting on the table. More than likely, if it's up to me, it's still there. Because I'm telling you, to this day, I do not eat oatmeal. I'll make it for my kids, but I won't eat it. I just won't. And I'm not even gonna tell y'all the reason why I don't like oatmeal. Because I'm not even gonna tell you why. I'm not. If you have a personal conversation with me, then I might give you the reason why I don't like oatmeal. But anyway, moving forward. So, yeah, like Family Day. Family Day was something that was created originally. Family would come over, my uncles, my aunt, with their kids, my uncles with his boys would come over. And I don't know if that was just one time or if it was multiple times we did Family Day. Again, I would have to get clarity on the exact understanding of what it was, but I do remember it being an occasional thing. And it would happen at least once a year, if I'm not mistaken, because it was just a day where we would just all be able to come together and just enjoy one another. Cousins would be together in the room playing a game or something like that. Or I remember, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was blowing bubbles with my godmom on there, and it was definitely a time. So, just thinking back on, family, or your favorite childhood memory, because again, like I said, we are definitely in times where now it's, you never know who is gonna wake up the next day, and it's just crazy, and it seems like this stuff, it just started happening like this in 2020. I think after the death of Kobe, these things just like the world just kind of like went into this vortex in some way. Cause man, I saw a status that basically said, "Hey, it was a status that was being shared that basically said, y'all remember the times where everybody was alive and gas was affordable." And I saw a comment that said, man, that when everybody was alive, it hit heavy because it's facts. Because it's just like, geez, like, man, like enjoy the moments that you have. You know what I'm saying? Like with your loved ones, because you never know. And I don't know how we got here, but it's just something that, definitely needs to be reminded and needs to be said because jeez, man, you never know. You never know. So shout out to my family, man. Shout out to my siblings. Shout out to my babies, my kids. Shout out to, my loved ones. I definitely just want y'all to know I appreciate y'all and everything that y'all have done. And are, continuing to do for me and my kids for sure. Definitely let your loved ones know, man, how you feel. And you don't want to wait until it's too late. You don't want to be standing behind a mic, in front of a casket talking about how that person, how much that person meant to you. Tell them why they still alive, man. Give them their flowers while they still here. and not when they're about to go 6 feet under. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody, and I just definitely want to continue to spread love. So that's basically what this podcast will be, spreading love. And also in this podcast, in every episode, I will definitely highlight a local artist. I will give you their social media handles. And it's just something to show support and love. Basically to those who are creatives, to the ones that are working their asses off, man, to be seen, to be noticed. And honestly, I wouldn't even say it's to be seen or noticed. I would honestly just say that it is to, just because it's what they love to do, it's their passion, it's something that they want to get out to the universe, and that's definitely what they're doing. And I just want you all to know that we see you. We see you, creatives. We see you. We are in the time now of creativity. We are in an era of just arts and creativity. And I definitely want to give a shout out to local artists, and to different ones that have supported me, and to different ones that I definitely have supported as well in the past, in the present, and moving forward as well. So I definitely wanted to set up a platform that I was able to do that, and definitely give love to those that are just grinding. So that would definitely be something done in the podcast. I definitely wanted to take the time as well to thank everybody that has been patient with me in this first episode, first of all. But I also want to just, shoot a few reminders out there to let everybody know that, this podcast is definitely affirming and all inclusive, like I mentioned before. There's no discrimination whatsoever. There will be guests on here. There will be a guest co-host as well. Not all the time, but definitely some of the time, because I wanted to utilize this platform just for myself. I spent a lot of years trying to put people on, trying to put people in front of me, trying to stay behind the scenes. And I've been hearing for the last 2 weeks that it is my turn, it is my time, that I need to stop holding back. And then I get these moments where I have this like burst of creativity that I don't know what to do with it. And I just, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I need to know. So at one moment I grab my keyboard, the next moment I'm grabbing my headphones and my laptop and my microphone so I can make a song. The next moment, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to figure out what to do with that creativity. And that's because I've been silent for so long. I've been in the back for so long that it's easier to be in the back. And a lot of people get surprised when I tell them, like, I'm really honestly camera shy. Like, I don't like being in front of the camera. I love directing. I love producing. I love being behind the cameras, behind the scenes, giving my 2 cents behind the scenes and all of that. But, I don't even care if my name is on the project. You know what I'm saying? Now, the revenue is different. My name don't have to be seen in the credits, but it definitely needs to be seen on a check with some zeros on it if I definitely contributed. That's all. I'm just being honest with you. But nobody, like, everybody don't have to know Celia did this or Celia did that. A lot of people that know me and know my style, know my creativity, they would definitely be able to tell. Yeah, I'm typically one to be behind the camera. I like to put other people in front of the camera, but I don't force myself to get in front of the camera enough, and that's what I need to start doing. I need to start pushing myself to the front, because I know there's some things that I know I'm supposed to be doing as well. And I guess I'm here just getting my feet wet, seeing what this is like, seeing what's going to happen, seeing what this will do. So there will definitely be some co-hosts on as well. And right now the podcast is only audio. There's no visual. It's only audio right now. But once I get to at least 100 listeners, I will consider transitioning to visual and audio podcasting. I will consider. Once I get to 100, at least 100, I will consider it. So I give myself about a year, you know what I'm saying, to get to that mark. And, once I reach, if I see an episode, I'm like, oh, I got 100 listeners, then I will start, considering doing some type of visual. But right now, we're going to stick to the audio just to kind of get a feel, get my feet wet, see what audience members are listening, see where listeners are, things like that. Every episode will air once a week. There will be a new episode once a week, every Tuesday, once a week, every Tuesday. So be checking your YouTube, be checking that to see if there is a new episode out. And every episode will be topic based. We will be discussing certain topics. Sometimes it'll just be me talking to y'all. Sometimes it'll be me having a conversation with someone. Because I definitely love having great dialect with other ones who are not necessarily like minded like myself, but ones who have a very I want to say complex, but also interesting way of thinking as well. Someone that I know I can hold a conversation with, and that's also great podcasting one on one as well. And that's definitely what I want to keep doing with this. So I'll have a lot of great people on the show. Definitely. And the moral of the show, the moral of the podcast, the moral of Card Talks is to inspire, to motivate, and to create. To inspire, to motivate, and to create, and creating and raising great conversations. Definitely, because it's definitely a lot of things that, especially within the last 4 years, that have happened that have come into into the light. A lot of new ways of thinking, a lot of things that I might not agree with, things that some people might not agree with when it comes to myself. It's a lot of things. Not that I should care, but it definitely, certain things deserve certain conversations. So that is something that I definitely would like to do and have on the show. So we're open, we're here to never offend. That's definitely something that we don't do. We don't offend. We're going to be respectful. We're going to remain respectful. And I ask all of my listeners to always remember the number one rule is to be respectful. Always be respectful. Any platform that I am on, anytime you hear Lady G, Zaddy G, whatever you want to call me, anytime I am on any type of platform, I want it to be respectful. There is no, bulldogs. There is no, what I'm saying, attacking anyone. There's no nothing, because everybody has their right to think and live the way that they want, and it is their household. And as long as you're not affecting my money, you know what I'm saying? As long as you're not coming in my house and turning off my lights and telling me I'm running up my bill and shit like that, we good. As long as you ain't trying to run my household and yours, we good. We good. We ain't got no reason to be butting heads and shit like that. We good. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to stay respectful. We're not going to offend, regardless of what you believe, regardless of what your religion says, regardless of what your spiritual side says. Because one thing I'm going to tell y'all about me is I was raised in a religious home. I definitely was. I have a very religious upbringing. Let me tell you, like almost any and everybody in my family is heavily in the church, whether they're pastors, deacons, ministers, bishops, ushers, whatever it is in the music industry, not industry, but in the music, like as far as a praise team, choir, whatever it is. Both sides of my family are definitely heavily in the church. So I understand when it comes to religious beliefs. I understand traditions. I understand all of that. But here on this platform, everybody is free to be themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I will get into, my background as far as like, why I am or who I am, the way I am and why. I will definitely get into that coming up here soon. But I really want to discuss the moral and the reason for this podcast. And I feel like I conquered that this episode. I feel like I did, and I am hoping that I did not lose the interest in some of you. I hope I continue to keep your attention as much as I could for this first episode. Again, it's just me here filling it out, seeing what it'll be like. And also in the comments, drop some topics, drop some questions, drop some things that you all would like to see moving forward. Any and all topics matter. Any and all topics matter, and you will always hear me say that. Card Talks, we're all inclusive and affirming, and any and all topics matter. So ask questions, suggest certain topics, ask me a question. If it's too personal, I'll let you know, like, yeah, I ain't gonna answer that. But I definitely want y'all to get to know me, so I'm not even gonna pretend like something is gonna something is too personal. I'm not gonna do that. Now, as long as you ain't in my bedroom, we good. We good. Because I ain't going to answer no questions. I'm going to try to keep that part of my life private. But moving forward, I definitely would love to hear from y'all. You know what I'm saying? So if you would like to reach me or continue to hear this podcast, you can definitely follow the social media handle at Card Talks on platforms, either on the podcast app on your phones for you iPhone users. I have not considered Clubhouse yet. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely going to be and continue to be on YouTube, because YouTube also has podcasting available now as an option. So I'll be utilizing YouTube as well. So that's definitely where I can be found. So leave your comments, drop your comments, tell me, how you liked it, rate it if you want 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest and 5 being okay and 1 being horrible. Shut up, don't ever do it again. Let me know where you're at, let me know how you're feeling, and we can go on from there. But hopefully, even if I see some ones, I'm gonna try to see what it is I can do better. And if you give me some ones, tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me what it is that I can do better. But moving forward, I'm gonna definitely, hopefully in the near future, I'll be able to give some stuff away. I definitely am starting a brand back up, my chosen brand that I started and then kind of, dropped. There's a lot of things that I started and didn't finish because of the place that I was in mentally. And again, like I said in the beginning of this episode, when you feel like you don't have the support that you need in order to keep pushing and keep going, and you're also one that's always like literally pouring into other people, it's hard to continue to go for yourself. And I made a vow to myself to not do that again, to be there for me, to continue to to continue to push me and encourage me first. Push me and encourage me first, because that's what my kids see. And if I'm going to be an example to my kids of following your dreams and doing what you love, I'm gonna start here. So moving forward, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, for listening. And again, follow me on social media. Well, on YouTube right now, you can subscribe to the channel, Card Talks. And again, leave some comments. Don't be afraid to just drop by. Let's remember to be respectful. Love yourself first. Live, love, and lab is the 3 L's that I live by. So moving forward, I hope to hear from y'all, and I can't wait to do this again. All right, y'all have a great one. Peace out.
Say.
Card Talk, Card Talk, Card Talks with Meg, Card Talks with Meg, Card Talk, Card Talk, Card Talks with Meg, Card Talks with Meg.